Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Julia. I'm a hypnotherapist and a spiritual coach. In last week's video, I talked about hypnotherapy and what is it good for, what are the benefits of it, and what are the most common misconceptions about it. If you would like to see that video, I will link it in the description box below. Today I want to continue talking about hypnosis, and I want to talk about a rather controversial subject, and this is the past life regressions. This is something that I'm very passionate about, and that's actually why I started studying hypnotherapy. I've always been fascinated by the idea of visiting past lives, and after I had my first session of hypnotic regression, I knew that I had to continue to go deeper into this subject because my first experience with past life regression was quite powerful, but I will talk about that a bit more later. One of the most notable works in our modern era in this field is that of Brian Weiss, an American psychiatrist and hypnotherapist. And this is how I started getting into hypnosis. I read a lot of his books and I was quite fascinated about his experiences with his clients. He's the one who first started to explore the past lives of his patients and use it as a form of therapy. He did not believe in reincarnation, like many other scientists don't, right? But at one point he had one patient that was under hypnosis going back to a childhood memory, and she recalled the memories of a past life instead. After confirming the elements of her stories through public records, he became convinced that reincarnation is real. After that, he began studying it, and he has regressed more than 4,000 patients ever since. He noticed so many benefits after using past life regression as a therapy, claiming that many phobias are rooted in past life experiences. Now, I want to do a side note here. This is not a video in which I try to convince you that reincarnation and past life exists, but I want to explain to you what are these type of regressions and how can they be used as a form of therapy. So, regressions occur through hypnosis, and we talked about that last week. Significant figures who explore hypnosis in the 18th century are Sigmund Freud and Milton Erickson. Milton was a highly successful psychotherapist. As a teenager, he had polio and he was paralyzed. And at that time, he had the opportunity to observe people, and he realized that what the people were saying and doing were often very different. He was a master in hypnosis. He was able to put a person in a trance without even mentioning the word hypnosis. There are 4 levels of hypnosis, and these are beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Beta is the normal level of conscious mind. So this is what we but this is the level we are in most of the time. Alpha is a state of light relaxation. When we daydream, we can be in that state. Suggestion therapy is very effective when we are in that state. And the theta level is where the deep relaxation takes place. And this is a state for past life regression. This is when the conscious mind is mostly switched off and the subconscious mind awakens and shows us memories of this life or a past life, repressed memories or just memories that we are not completely aware of or at all. Delta is an extremely deep form of relaxation where the superconsciousness comes into play and the soul memories are being stored. It is deeper than theta and used for past life regressions as well. Now, during the regression, the patient is guided in the state of complete relaxation and then guiding the patient towards certain memories. The patient will be able to tell the therapist what is happening, what do they see, what do they feel, what do they sense. In regression, the person can recall conscious and subconscious memories. If the therapist takes the client back to childhood memories or memories of this life, it is likely that these memories will be conscious. But then we can move on to the early years, to the womb even, and past lives. And at that point, the memories are subconscious. Past life regression is particularly effective in solving fears, phobias, relationship problems, health problems, old habits, and compulsive behaviors. It can be used as a therapy for weight loss as well, breaking lifelong patterns, and so much more. When the suggestion therapy does not have the desired results, past life regressions could be the answer. There may be emotional blockages, physical pains, and illnesses that may come from unresolved issues from a past life. So someone may try everything that is equivalent to normal therapy, but sometimes it is needed to go even deeper to find the root of the problem. You can gain a deeper understanding of your present life by visiting a past life. And in hypnosis, the mind is constantly aware of the environment and everything that is happening. So whoever is completely immersed in a hypnotic state and reliving past memories from childhood or past lives is able to speak that language that they speak in today's life and is able to recognize the geographical places they see, even if they've never been to that place in their life. And they can see the era or the year in which they are being transported to. The hypnotized mind is always aware of the present and is able to put memories in the correct context. Some people may even start speaking a language that they never learned in this lifetime. And that's pretty amazing, right? Now, how does one visit a past life? And how can you find the root of a problem in a past life regression? During the hypnosis session, there is emphasis placed on a particular issue, and the subconscious mind will reveal the exact place or moment at which this problem arose. Every memory of this life and other lives is stored in the subconscious mind, and by hypnosis we have access to this information, as the subconscious mind is awakened during hypnosis and shows us the exact information we need so that we can heal. Hypnotic regression means returning to any past time and accessing those memories and events that still have a negative influence on the present life, and that could be the source of the negative symptoms that someone has at the present time. Once we have access to this information that we need, we are now aware of what the issue is, where it originated, where and when it started, and the reason for that. The acknowledgement alone is already a step towards healing. So how does it work? Through deep relaxation and hypnotic techniques, the door to past life memories is being opened. It's as simple as that. We are able to see as objective observers the events of the past that have contributed to our current situation. It's like seeing a movie, the movie of our life, if you like, or the movie of a past life. It's not about trying to remember. In fact, the more we try to remember, the harder it is. It's more like a matter of letting it happen, letting the memories flow to you, to your conscious mind, from the subconscious to the conscious mind. So can everyone regress? That's a common question. Yes, but not everyone succeeds the first time. There may be a number of reasons that somebody may not regress back to a past life, and the most common reason for not going back is that the person is not ready to see what's there. The subconscious mind guards certain memories if the individual is not yet ready to see what happened. Sometimes you can find that there are childhood problems that arise and need to be treated before the past life regression can succeed. Otherwise, almost everyone is capable of being regressed to a past life. It has nothing to do with religious beliefs or spiritual orientation. The most common question about past life regression is, how do I know if I am not just making this up? How do I know if what I see it's imagined or if it's real? Well, there is a difference between thinking about something that might have happened in the past and really remembering something that has happened. When someone is making something up about a past event, this event is often devoid of any feelings. There is little to no emotional charge to something that hasn't happened in reality, but there is often a huge emotional outburst that comes with a real memory of the events of a past life. Most people expect to see vivid visual images during a past life regression, but not everyone does. Past life memories can come through any of the senses. Some people will experience body memories or sensations or pain or a smell, a feeling, and so forth. A lot of people often want to know if the people closest to them in this lifetime right now were with them in a past life. And from my experience with clients and from my own experiences with hypnotic regression, I can tell you that this is a very common thing. to meet people in this lifetime that you already know from past lives. And this is how we become aware of the many karmic bonds and lessons once we have that recognition of those souls from a certain past life. Some fears, phobias, physical pain, and emotional blockages can have origins in past lives. So no matter what therapies and techniques one might try to solve these problems, sometimes only a past life regression can help. For example, I saw a patient who tried everything to heal the fear of water. When I regressed him, the patient discovered that he died from drowning in another life. Once the patient saw this event and knew where the fear came from, he was no longer afraid of water. It was as simple as that. Brian Weiss gives so many examples like that from his patients, and he had patients who had severe pain in their bodies, and once they found out how they died in a past life or what the karmic lessons were linked to that pain, the pain disappeared. And there's an example that stayed with me that was written in his book, Many Lives, Many Masters, which I strongly recommend you read it if you are interested in this topic. One of his patients had this stabbing pain in both of her knees, more so on the left. And the doctors couldn't do much about it, so she went to see Brian Weiss. Her first regression brought her back to Midwestern countryside of 19th century America, and she saw herself in an accident, being brought down by a carriage fired by horses. The accident destroyed, you guessed it, her left knee, and an infection just left her disabled in that lifetime. In a glance at another life, the patient saw herself in medieval Japan as a male soldier whose left knee was pierced by an arrow. So the two regressions explained her current knee problem, but as Weiss said, they had to go to the origin of the karmic lessons. So he regressed her again, where she reached to North America in pre-Roman times. And this time she was a male god in a brutal prison who had the pleasure in hurting the prisoner's legs. And she saw how in that life she smashed the prisoner's knees with a hammer or a rock. Many prisoners died from infections of their wounds. And this is how the patient gained a complete understanding of these past life events. And then she started getting better. The inflammation in her knees went back, and the examination showed that both of her knees were fully recovered. So she could see why her knees and legs were so painful in her current life. She had paid her dues, but now she recognized that she could be released and she could ask for forgiveness. She could not change the facts and details of that life, but she could change her reactions to the events in a spiritual way. And this process is called reframing. When I first began regression, I didn't know whether the regressions were real or imagined, but I quickly decided that it didn't matter as long as the process was healing. Some may be part fantasy and some may be quite literal. The important thing is the end result. This is what matters in hypnotic regression. My first experience with past life regression was very powerful. Before that regression, I always had this sensitivity in my throat, and very often I would get sick with flu and get a throat infection to the point of needing antibiotics. And that would happen several times a year. When I first had my past life regression, I saw myself as a Chinese man being stabbed in the neck and murdered. After that regression, I never once had issues with my throat. Maybe some minor colds, but nothing serious. And I must also say that I was always drawn to China in a mysterious way. And I ended up working there for a while. So this is quite interesting. I found it really interesting. Also, in my past life regressions, I saw one of my best friends that I met in this lifetime when I was at the university. And I remember my first day going to university in this lifetime. I was looking around in my class and wondering who I'd become friends with from that large group of people. And I saw this girl who caught my attention and felt like I already knew her somehow. She seemed very familiar to me. Sure enough, in the next few days, she sat right next to me at one of our classes and she started talking to me. Later, we became roommates and best friends, and to this day, we have a very special connection, although we don't see each other that often anymore. As I said in one of my regressions, I saw her and we were both working at a newspaper. We were both women and I was writing a document in Turkish. Now, I don't speak Turkish, but I just knew that language and I knew what I was writing during that hypnotic regression. And she was there working with me. She was a very close and dear friend in that lifetime as she is in this lifetime. So the people you see in the regressions from past lives do not look the same as they do right now in this life, and they don't have the same status. So they could be your friend or your lover, a spouse, a sibling, and so on. They may be a man or a woman, but you just recognize them, you recognize their souls. And of course, there is a purpose for which you meet this person over and over again, because they will help you grow or they will teach you some valuable lessons. Some are destined to stay with you in this lifetime forever or till the end of the life, or their role in your life is short but significant. I also saw my grandmother in a past life, and she was my little sister in that life. Needless to say, my grandma and I have a very special bond. I've also seen two of my romantic partners in past life regressions. One of them I've seen in two different lives, in different forms. Well, forms, as a woman and as a man. And in both of those lifetimes, and in this one actually, the role in each other's life was short but meaningful, and it actually gave me a great insight and understanding of my patterns in relationships. So, real or imaginary, past life regression is a fascinating field with enormous healing potential. One thing is for sure, when someone has a vivid past life experience, it changes their whole outlook. Suddenly, there is a lot more to life. So, we reached the end of the video, and I'm very curious. Are you intrigued by past lives? Do you believe in reincarnation? Have you ever experienced a past life regression? I would love to read about it if you want to share with us in the comments below. Also, if you would like to have a past life regression, visit my website and I can help you with that. You can find the details in the description box below. And next week I will record a guided past life regression and I will upload it here. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe so that you know when I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.